Hey everybody, it's Vito. Let's just get into it. I want to say a couple things. What am I going to say? First of all, this video is going to be sloppy and disgusting, and there's cats running around, and my room is a mess. Making the camera shake as they jump around my room. I just watched, what is it? Zack Snyder's Justice League. I have to call it by its official name. Zack Snyder's Justice League, not Justice League. Zack Snyder's Justice League. This is going to be nuts. This is going to be nuts. Why? Because it's 12:30 in the flippin' morning. I just drank like 2 rock stars and maybe some other materials, which I will not bring up on stream, to help get through this 4-hour marathon of a movie, which I was going to use some colorful language to describe it, but we'll get into that. So this is going to be stream of consciousness. These are not my final thoughts on the movie. This is my first impression review. I got to watch the movie again, as much of a nightmare as it's going to be to sit through another 4-hour marathon of a movie, but I want to make sure I get it right. If I am going to do a final review, we'll see. But I wanted to get these thoughts out. One more thing I want to mention. There's not going to be any footage of the movie in this video because Warner Brothers is so stupid. If you put like a shot from a trailer in a movie, they will copyright strike the whole thing. So the only way I can get this up is to not put any footage from anything, sadly. If you're coming here to look at pictures of Batman fighting guys, video footage from the movie, I can't put it in. I'll put it into the actual review, and then I can wait a week for them to clear it through the copyright censors or whatever. But to get this review out, there's not going to be any footage or anything. It's just a fat man screaming at you at 12:30 in the morning with his veins full of sugar juice, and I had some cookies, some good cookies, macadamia nut. I watched it with my good friend Dick Masterson. And another, I will mention, as you watch it, if you feel like you don't want to sit through a 4-hour superhero movie alone, head on over to patreon.com/TheVitoShow. We have recorded an entire 4-hour commentary track for the entire movie. If that's how you would like to experience it, or if you think you're going to watch it twice, I think we had a lot of fun. We did make fun of some parts of the movie. If you're looking for a serious watch through, maybe watch it first by yourself. Okay. So how can I put this? I'm normal. I'm a very negative person. Let's be clear. I always am, and I always have to go, okay, now Vito, are you being fair to the movie? And I want to be fair. I want to be reasonable. But when I really think about it, I can't say that this is. It's definitely not a great movie. Let's put it this way. Okay, it's not like a Dark Knight. It's not like a Joker or an Infinity War. You know, any of these great superhero movies, Guardians of the Galaxy. I don't know. Whatever your top superhero movies are, I would never put Justice League up there. It's too much of a mess. There's too much going on. This is, without a doubt, there's no denying that this is so much better than the Whedon version. Maybe so much better is a stretch, but it is definitely better. Whedon's version was just bad for so many reasons. So let's start off with some stuff I like. One, this is a director's vision. And that ultimately, if you come away with anything from this movie, it's thank God a movie director got to make the movie he wanted to make without this ridiculous corporate meddling, without Warner Brothers going, by the way, we did focus testing, and people like Deadpool, and it's funny, and people like how colorful Avengers is, so we're going to take your dark, gritty superhero movie and try to turn it into a colorful Avengers thing. No. We have spit in the eye of the disgusting executives who that's how they think movies should be made. I want to center my camera a little bit. And we've told them, you know what? We want to see a director's actual vision. If you hire a guy to do a job, let him do the job. I don't want this corporate meddling. It's terrible. It's the worst. And it is disgusting. I mean, we saw it with Suicide Squad. We've seen it with other movies. Josh Trank's Fantastic Four. And even some of the Star Wars stuff, I think. Reshoots all around. I don't know. Rogue One, that's another one that had a ton of reshoots, and it was not really the director's original vision. So, big win for directorial intent, for directorial authorship, however you want to put it. And that's one thing I will say about Justice League, is that I love about Zack Snyder's Justice League. What I love about it is that it is very clearly Zack Snyder's vision. Because there are choices in there that I do not agree with, but I also respect that those choices came from a guy and not like a corporate boardroom meeting. Like Zack Snyder sat down and said, in this scene, I'm going to play this song. Now, Vito watching it is going to go, I don't know why this song is in here. It's a very weird creative choice. I'm thinking specifically of an early scene where, remember Aquaman, the first time Batman meets him? I'm going to assume you've seen the original Justice League. I assume most people in my audience have seen it. Originally, there's that scene where he storms towards the pier and he has that bottle of liquor and he smashes it on the ground. He disappears into the waves. In the Joss Whedon version, you know, you had a very obvious kind of like hard rock, look at this cool guy soundtrack. Like, okay. In the Zack Snyder version, I can't even recall it. It was like this like indie... I don't even remember. I'd have to go back and watch it. But it was like a very weird like song about a king, like, the king, he comes in the night. Blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, this is so weird. But I don't know. I respect it because it's clearly a choice that a guy made to not have stock Hollywood soundtrack, to be like, no, I want to put this song in. It's going to be Zack Snyder's infinite playlist, as I joked about. That this movie very much seems like Zack Snyder scrolled through his iPhone, his iPod, and he's like, all right, all the songs I like go in the movie. I like this song, I like this song. I don't care if it fits. It goes in the movie. So I like that. I do like that. And as I've said many times before, and I've fought with people on this, I think Zack Snyder has an incredible visual style. The movie just looks better now. Because Joss Whedon, this drove me nuts. Because I actually went back, like when I got home, I was checking on a couple scenes because I wanted to see if certain scenes were in the original. I was scrolling around the original. Joss Whedon took Zack Snyder's footage, which was purposefully shot, and I've talked about this before, to darkness. He uses very dark, moody tones. And it looks okay. And it especially works in these superhero movies where you're dressing these people up and, frankly, costumes that look stupid as hell. Okay? If you took Bruce Wayne, what do you call it? If you took Ben Affleck Bruce Wayne and you put him in, like, direct light wearing that stupid costume, you would see how stupid it actually looks. Like, we were looking... It looks like he's wearing a rubber, like... It's rubber. It's a rubber suit. His muscles are comically sized. But if you put him in shadows and you use, you know, different lighting techniques, it almost works. Joss Whedon decided to brighten the whole things up, put an Avengers paint job on it, this color by numbers, bright pastel colors all across the thing. I mean, go compare the footage between the Joss Whedon version and the Zack Snyder version. I cannot imagine anyone saying that the Joss Whedon color grading looked better. And I'm glad to see the movie. Again, you took... The best thing that what Zack Snyder is best at is visuals, is the look and the mood and everything else. Why on earth, even if you were going to bring Joss Whedon in to theoretically fix the movie, would you touch any of that? That was insanity. So thankfully we have restored the good-looking visuals. It looks great. You could take frames out of this movie and hang them on your wall. Absolutely. And I love Zack Snyder for that. I know some people think I hate Zack Snyder because I made a whole bunch of videos about how I think his stories suck. And I do think some of his... story is a whole thing we're going to get into, sure. But look and visual appeal and everything else nails it in this movie. Yeah, there's a couple shots where, like, the CG, obviously, you know, okay, they didn't have a huge budget left over to fix some of the CG stuff. But most of the stuff that, you know, he originally put in the movie just looks great. You know, what do you call it? Batfleck on the horse, riding into some Norwegian, whatever, fishing town. All looks great. And I do want to say, just to wrap up the talk on the Joss Whedon thing, this movie is a big middle finger to Joss Whedon, 100%. I am pretty sure that every single scene that Joss Whedon added to Justice League has been removed from this movie. I don't know what every Whedon scene was, but the ones that were clearly Whedon scenes are gone. Off the top of my head, that includes the part where Batman Flash is freaking out and he's like, I don't know what to do. And Batman tells him, oh, just save one person, inspire people. You know, all this big stupid, Richard Donner Superman stuff that Joss Whedon is obsessed with. The part with the kids on the cell phone from the beginning of the movie where they interview Superman on their cell phone, gone. The part where they dig up Superman's grave, they use what I assume is Zack Snyder's original cut of that, which loses Joss Whedon's version, which is a little more jokey and fun. The part where Aquaman sits on the lasso of truth, gone. Skis. All the stuff with the Russian family in the village, gone. The part where Superman saves an entire apartment building, gone. Now, I will say, some of those cuts seem, actually, I would disagree with. I went back and watched the original, Cyborg and the Flash digging up Superman's grave, and I actually thought that scene was a little better. I thought that those characters had spent so much time being, moody. Like, Cyborg is just such a moody character in this movie that having a scene where him and the Flash kind of joke around, kind of get a little human, that was actually good, I thought. Another Whedon thing I thought was good was establishing that this town that Steppenwolf takes over, this town with a nuclear reactor in the middle of it, Joss Whedon decided that that town has people living in it, and he showed that. He didn't show it in a good way. Now, having a dumb Russian family looking out the window at, space bugs was not the best way to communicate that. But in Zack Snyder's version, I'm actually confused, because I don't know if that town is like an abandoned nuclear town or if there's people living in it. And it would have been more dramatic to see people living in that town and, oh my God, our town's been taken over by space bugs, smashing into buildings and whatever else. I think that Zack Snyder wanted that town to be abandoned, which is, okay, it's a decision. I think it's less dramatic to not have the town have people in it. I think Whedon actually made the right call there, just executed it terribly. But all the dumb jokes, again, Superman on the cell phone... there's some ADR lines I noticed have been removed. Again, I was just very quickly going through it. When Superman shows up for the first time, back from the dead, was originally an ADR line where Flash is like, "Should we bow?" And you're like, I don't know. It's not a great joke. So yeah, this movie is Zack Snyder saying, "Hey, Joss Whedon, get out of my movie. Get out of my movie. F you, buddy. You screwed it up. You ruined my legacy, and I'm gonna fix it." Now, does he fix it? All right. It is real tough. It is real tough to be real about this movie. From the tone of my voice, you can tell. Do I like this movie? Would I recommend? You watch it once. This is a movie I would watch once and then forget about. Ultimately, I can't say this is it's watchable. And it is definitely more... I like this movie more than Batman v Superman because I can actually follow it. Like, the plot is not completely convoluted. I don't like it as much as Man of Steel. Man of Steel, I think, is still Zack Snyder's best attempt within this franchise. So I guess it's in the middle between Batman v Superman being the worst and Man of Steel being the best. None of them are fantastic. Man of Steel, I have been coming around on Man of Steel. I do like it more. But it kind of feels weird to try and judge this as a movie. Can we call this a movie? It's 4 hours long. So, yeah, maybe it makes more sense. It's more coherent now because you had 4 hours to tell that story. But for a movie that's 4 hours long, I don't come out of that like... I don't know. I feel like if you're going to make a 4-hour movie, I should come away from that like, my God, that was the greatest cinematic experience of my life. Instead, I come out of it like, man, I sure did sit through 2 pretty mediocre superhero movies, which had great visuals, some pretty bad writing, no relatable characters. I don't know, a visual feast for the eyes with not a lot of substance to back it up. Now, I feel, this is my feeling on this. I'm trying to mull this over. Again, I just finished watching this movie. I'm still trying to piece it together. This movie feels like I hesitate to say love letter, but this is a movie that was made for DC Comics fans. If you are a DC Comics fan and you know the lore, if you know what a parademon is, if you know who a Darkseid is, if you know what the anti-life equation is in the Martian Manhunter and all that, I think you will... and you love that stuff, if you're the kind of guy and you love that stuff and all you've ever wanted is to see it on the big screen, I think you're going to have a real good time. I really do think that. That being said, if you're not a hardcore DC fan, okay, if you're like me and you're like a moderate DC fan, you're like, yeah, I know some of this stuff, but not really. Like, I don't know exactly what the anti-life equation is. I kind of remember it, but not really. Or if you're someone going into this and all you know is you're like, yeah, I watched that Batman show back in the 70s and I know Superman likes to fly around. I think you're just going to be lost. You're going to be lost. You're going to be a little bit confused. You're going to be not really having the best time because this is not a fun movie in the slightest. This is a very dark, gritty, dour movie. It's a bummer. Like, there are no real moments of levity and fun. It's just a lot of guys growling, guys and gals growling at each other, making deep throat voices with their, everybody's got their little demons they're dealing with, Cyborg, whatever else. I don't know, man. It didn't do it for me. Superhero movies are so strange. Let's be real. I mean, look at what superheroes started out as. It started out as a guy wearing tights, flying around, having, if you look at Superman's original powers, he had the power of super ventriloquism and could shoot his voice and ice breath. Yeah, okay, he has ice breath and laser eyes and everything else. It was supposed to be like, yeah, heroism and exciting, but also like, okay, a little bit campy, a little bit silly. These were stories, let's be real, these were aimed at 8-year-olds, 10-year-olds, children. So I don't know what you do with the... Sorry, I'm losing my train of thought. I'm thinking, okay, yeah, we did that for a while, and then superheroes started getting a little more serious, a lot more serious. We had Dark Knight with Frank Miller, stuff like Watchmen, where we started taking these tropes, and we were like, well, what if we did take that seriously? What would that look? What if these heroic stories were a bit deeper, and maybe they were a little darker, a little more dour? I don't know. And obviously Marvel did some of that by trying to make their heroes have real human problems, and problems with girls. Spider-Man is a great example of a guy who, after he's done being a superhero, he's a lonely nerd just trying to win the girl. All very interesting stuff. But then we arrive at this new realm of superheroes where I guess you have two camps. I mean, you have the Marvel camp, which I know a lot of DC fans, you don't like what Marvel does. You think it's for kids and it's stupid, colorful garbage. But I hate to say it, I think Marvel found like a good formula. And I'm not saying DC has to follow that formula. I'm not saying DC can't make films that are more serious than Marvel films. Joker is a great example, which, though it's not really a superhero movie, is an example of how you can get kind of serious within that stuff. Where Justice League just feels disconnected from fun. It's not fun, and I don't think it's supposed to be fun. And the times when it pretends to be fun, you're like, yeah, but it's not fun. This is really just watching a bunch of miserable people argue with each other while wearing stupid costumes. I don't know. And again, I know there's people out there who are like, that's good. That's what I want. I want dark, dour, depressing superhero movies where everyone's just kind of fighting with each other and mad at each other. And like occasionally you get like one moment where, everybody becomes a hero and then you're like, oh, okay, well, I guess it's a little, it all comes together in the end. But literally the majority of the 3.5 of these 4 hours are just people being kind of miserable and dicks. Like, it's not fun. So what am I going to say about this movie? I don't like it. I can't say that it's very good to look at. Again, Zack Snyder makes stuff look good. But the dialogue does nothing for me. This character relatability problem to me is probably the biggest one. Is that I look at a Marvel movie where, even though obviously I'm never going to be like a Robert Downey Jr. type person, but I still can empathize with a character like Iron Man, where you go, okay, he's fun, he's quirky, whatever, but he obviously has some demons he's working out. But there's some levity to him. Again, he is like a fun character. You root for him as a guy who you're like, I like this guy. I like this Iron Man guy. He's kind of a dick, but he's got a good heart. And we don't just see the dark, depressing sides of him for the whole movie. It, occasionally snaps back to him just having fun, just being a guy. Or I think about Spider-Man is a great example of, like, how can you not root for Spider-Man? Just a plucky kid, wants to do what's right, wants to save the world. I saw a post recently that was like, that scene in Avengers Infinity War when he sees an alien spaceship outside the school bus. And his first thought isn't like, oh my God, aliens, like we're going to die. Oh my God, like what do I do? His very first thought is, I'm a superhero. I got to do something. Like, does not hesitate for a second. And you're like, I love this kid. I love this Spider-Man. Like, he knows what he's got to do and he does it. All these guys spend the whole movie, I don't know, just arguing with each other and being like, Aquaman's whole thing is, I don't want to be responsible. Busho, get out of the bag. Stop making noise. My cat is crawling around in a paper bag right now. I'm trying to make my reviews. He's going back in there. Get out of the bag. Making these horrible bag noises. Okay. The point is that the Marvel films, even if you think they're too colorful and too kiddie, I don't know. You relate more to the characters because they feel like people you know. They feel like your buddy down the street, your buddy you grew up in high school with, your buddy, works at your job with you. Just a guy who's got some problems, some shit he's going through, but you're like, I want to hang out with this guy. Who would you want to hang out with in the Justice League universe? Do you want to hang out with Batman? No, I think it would be awful. He'd just be sad and depressing the whole time. Do you want to hang out with Aquaman? No, he'd just be a jerk who's getting drunk the whole time. Do I want to hang out with Cyborg? No, he's going to stand in the corner and look sad because his dad's dead and be real mad about that. Wonder Woman seems hard to talk to, cold, distant, weird. And ultimately, the one character who I think, am I missing somebody? The one character I'm thinking of is the Flash, is the closest thing to being a relatable human being. And when I look, but the problem with the Flash is that they kind of went for this, and call me crazy if I'm crazy, but I really think that this was part of the writing process where they're like, let's make him kind of like autistic. Like, he's not all the way there. He's a weirdo. And he's a weirdo in like an off-putting, awkward way where you're like, oh, this guy's kind of awkward and kind of cringy. And as I was thinking about it, I'm like, what they should have done is got a guy, again, like a Tom Holland Spider-Man, or like, there's that Flash TV show. I think that actor is great. I think you should have had one character who was just a guy, like a normal, relatable dude, no real quirks or whatever else, just kind of fun, just kind of funny, along for the ride. Someone to go like, okay, you guys taking this pretty seriously. I'm a little out of my element. Flash does some of that, but it always comes off, again, because he's such an awkward, I don't know, nerdy weirdo, but not in like a likable way. I don't know. He's the closest thing you have to a character, like a character who should be the central human figure of this saga. Not whatever. I'm getting a little too lofty with my description of it, but just kind of like a relatable guy to offset all these dark, depressing, growling weirdos. I mean, we were watching the movie and there's one point where Batman and Aquaman are having a discussion and we could not tell their voices apart. They were like off screen and Aquaman's like, we can't bring him back to life. And they're talking about bringing Superman back, and then Batman goes, we have to bring him back to life. This is crazy, Bruce Wayne. You're crazy, Aquaman. And I'm like, dude, I just want one guy who's like, I don't know, Batman, this is kind of nuts. What's going on? Everybody has too much going on. Zack Snyder has said Cyborg is supposed to be the emotional center of this movie. And yeah, they build on Cyborg so much. I understand why Ray Fisher is mad, because you're like, oh, you had way more going on in this movie that they cut out. But again, Cyborg, I mean, if you've seen the original Justice League, he hasn't really changed a lot. He's wearing a hoodie. He's looking down. He's all mad. Oh, my dad turned me into a robot. Being a robot sucks. You're like, man, nobody is like just a fun, happy guy. The closest, again, is the Flash, and even him, I mean, his dad's in prison. He's got all that anxiety. I don't know. It did not work. I think the characters in this movie were just too weirdly dark. And Superman might even be the one who can provide some sort of happy, smiley Superman, like, oh, Superman's here. You know, he'll have fun, but he's not in the movie until, like, the very end. And when he comes back, he fights them all. Yeah. I don't know, man. I mean, there's so much to discuss. I mean, again, it's a 4-hour movie. There's so much to discuss. Let me try to go through chronologically and just see what I liked, what I didn't like. So we start off, I'm not going to remember everything that happened in the exact order, but Batman goes, meets Aquaman. There's now, like, extended weirdness of, like, Norwegian women singing a song for Aquaman. Okay. Goes along. Well, I'm giving up on this chronological thing. There's too much in this movie. You do get the stuff with Cyborg being a high school football star. His mom dies in a car crash. You actually get to meet his mom. You get to see more of how he became Cyborg. And you actually get a scene where his dad dies trying to protect one of the... I think he was trying to destroy one of the mother boxes. That was interesting. It was definitely better than the theatrical cut. In the theatrical cut, you know, the first 2 mother boxes, remember, Steppenwolf has to get the first one from the Amazons. The second one he gets from the Atlanteans. And the third one he gets because they leave it in Superman's spaceship and he snatches it while they're busy doing something else, which was so stupid. At least in this, we get to see them try to stop him from grabbing the mother box. All the CG is better. Absolutely. Part of it, again, is that they got rid of the terrible Joss Whedon color grading. So just a lot of stuff looks better. Steppenwolf has a new model. He looks much less like a Soul Calibur 2 character. And as you probably already know, Darkseid does show up in various scenes. If you remember the scene from the original movie where we see the first time that they tried to stop the mother boxes. Originally, that scene had Steppenwolf fighting all the armies of men and the Atlanteans and whatever else. That scene is extended now. Instead, it's Darkseid fighting them. You get to see a Green Lantern. Definitely more... I mean, Zack Snyder had more time to play around. The question is whether he used that time effectively. One big criticism I have is Zack Snyder, not every shot needs to be in slow motion. Not every battle sequence does not need a gratuitous slow motion shot. Even shots that do not need to go on as long as they do. Now, I didn't time it, and I could be wrong, but you remember the scene where Batman throws the Batarang, because the Flash is like, oh, I'm not a superhero, what are you talking about? And then the Flash is able to grab the Batarang out of the air, confirming that he has super speed. Okay. In the original cut, I'm pretty sure he throws the Batarang. There's like a quick slow motion, like, oh, the Batarang, and he grabs it. In this version, I swear that scene is like 2 or 3 times longer. Like, the Flash is just staring at the Batarang like, oh my God, it's Batman. Oh, I gotta get the Batarang. I'm like, dude, stop. And a lot of these slow motion sequences, like, are unnecessary. There's another scene that was in the original cut where Wonder Woman has dropped her sword. It's in midair. And the Flash is like, oh, I'm going to do this thing. I'm going to do this cool run around this inside spiral thing. And I'm going to tip the sword towards her. And then she's going to grab it out of the air. And you're like, oh, cool. He got her sword back in her arm. What's she going to do with it? Is she going to, like, hit Steppenwolf with it? But then she just falls to the ground holding the sword. And you're like, okay. So if you didn't do the gratuitous slow-mo thing where you, like, tipped it back into her hand... What, it would have just, like, fallen to the ground and she could have just picked it up normally? That seemed unnecessary. That was not... Okay. Why did you do that in slow motion? I don't know. The plot, again, he has more time to explain what's going on. There's a little too much explanation. Excuse me. Getting into the anti-life equation seems like a mistake. I did not, and I need to go rewatch it. I don't even understand that. For some reason, Earth has the anti-life equation etched into it, which Darkseid's been looking for. Again, if you're not a DC Comics fan, none of what I'm saying means anything. And I think if you watch the movie, it's going to be the same. You're like, what is an anti-life equation? I mean, there's 3 different scenes where Steppenwolf just goes and talks to some dude, some, like, I don't know, other henchmen of Darkseid, and they talk about their plans or whatever else. It's like obnoxious how much can I review the movie? I know you guys, they've been mad because I've been away for 4 hours. They want to come hang out. Let me make my review, kitty cat. There's a lot of, like, gratuitous scenes of just, like, explaining stuff that I don't know. A lot of it just, I need to go back and rewatch it because it was just too much to take in all at once. Ultimately, though, the plot is better. I mean, stuff that, yeah, like, look at me trying to make words happen. Stuff like showing how the third mother box happens, Superman getting his different suit, he chooses a suit or whatever. There's more stuff. I don't know. There's just more stuff is what it comes down to. Take a lot of the scenes from the original movie and stretch them out a bit, and you're going to get this movie. There were some new scenes, absolutely. The problem is that now I'm trying to think of, like, which ones really stood out is like, oh, I'm glad this scene is here. And you got to see Alfred making weapons for Batman. Okay. Definitely a lot more cyborg stuff, but none of it was like incredible. You get to see hack an ATM. Okay. The Flash. Oh, you get the deleted scene where the Flash saves Iris West, which was completely unnecessary. Like, that's the problem, is a lot of the new scenes, you're like, these aren't really necessary. They're not adding enough. It's kind of just like, well, we have them, so why not? It's not... When you're going to make if you're going to make a 4-hour movie, do you make a 4-hour movie where you go, let's just put everything we got into it? Or do you go, well, why don't we make it like a tightly crafted thing and cut out some of the stuff that does not need to be here? So that's why I ultimately have to be kind of negative about it, is that, like, it becomes gratuitous when you make a 4-hour film. It's not a tight narrative. It's all over the place. I mean, you're running into the problem where we got 2 hours into the movie and they still haven't assembled the Justice League. Because you have a bunch of origin stories. You're getting basically Aquaman's origin story. He's talking to Willem Dafoe, I guess is his dad. Like, none of this needs to really be here. And it's interesting, again, if you're a DC Comics fan and you just want as much DC as you can, as many scenes, as many action things, as many cool slow motion battles as you can, fine. But I don't think that's a great movie. I think a great movie is tightly crafted. You trim the fat, you get it down to exactly what it needs to be a movie, and nothing else. Not a single extraneous thing. Flash saving a girl who we don't see for the rest of the movie, you don't need that. It does not add very much other than to establish that he's super fast, which we see plenty of times again. I mean, we kept comparing it to Quicksilver in the X-Men movies, where all his slow motion scenes are fun and have a cool soundtrack. Him saving his girlfriend, again, Zack Snyder with the soundtrack, man, is the most dramatic guy in the world. He slows down time, and it's like this love song is almost playing as he looks in the eyes of this girl he's just saved. Just gratuitous. So, I got to wrap this up. I do want to say no, I won't spoil it. Should I spoil it? Yeah, whatever. I'm going to... I don't know. I'm already spoiling it, right? I'm already kind of giving spoilers away. But you've already seen Justice League. You know what? I think the spoilers I've given are just kind of some of the changes, some of the additions to the thing. I won't spoil the ending. They changed the ending a little bit. The Flash has a big moment. But ultimately, again, I don't know. That was like the big emotional climax was the Flash. You know what? We're going to spoil it. If you don't want the spoilers, stop watching right now. The rest of this is going to be spoilers. Let's just do it. All right, so this has been your warning. It does not really matter. It's the Justice League movie, but whatever. Okay, so the Flash, they screw up. They don't separate the mother box in time, and they lose, and Earth gets destroyed. The Flash runs faster than the speed of light, which enables him to travel through time and get them to separate the mother box using the charge he's built up by running really fast. And that was like supposed to be like the big emotional moment. I don't know. Is that the big emotional? Is the big emotional moment Superman shows up and that's another Joss Whedon line that gets deleted. I remember when he originally showed up, he has some stupid line where he's like, I'm all about truth, but I prefer justice. That's gone. Got rid of that. No, Superman says something completely different. There's a lot of emotional moments, but I guess the big climax of the fight is Iron Man, the Flash going faster than the speed of light and turning back time. He has time travel powers, Which, okay, raises some problems. Can he do that whenever he wants? Is this like the only time because he really wanted it hard enough? But there's no buildup. Like, it would have been cool if early on in the film he's like, I've tried going faster than the speed of light. It's impossible. It'll kill me if I do it, whatever else. And this is the time that, like, we've established that. And he's like, whatever, I'm just going to push it to the limit and maybe I'll die or something else. But instead it's just kind of like, hey, I can turn back time. Oh, okay. Well, that takes a lot of the drama out of future encounters when you're like, hey, Flash, do that thing where you run really fast again and turn back time. So they separate the mother boxes, and then what's his name? Darkseid does not get to invade Earth. And he's like, that's fine. I'll come back for that anti-life equation again. Which brings up a whole thing of, like, how weird is it to have a movie that ends with this cliffhanger of, like, Darkseid will return and Justice League 2. I mean, they don't say that out loud, but that was obviously the original point of the movie. Darkseid, that's the real bad guy. I look forward to more of the Snyderverse. Some people are, like, theorizing. They're like, well, maybe the Snyderverse will happen. Maybe this will be such a smash hit that they're going to give Zack Snyder everything back. First of all, Zack Snyder would not direct that stuff, even if he did. I don't think Ben Affleck's coming back. Cyborg's banned from all Warner Brothers productions. Amber Heard, I think, is banned from all Warner Brothers productions. So you have this movie, again, a 4-hour movie that doesn't even really have a satisfying ending. The ending is you beat one of the henchmen of the real bad guy, leading into a movie you will never see. The ending also, okay, you would think in a movie called The Justice League, the movie would end with all of them establishing the Justice League. Instead, it ends literally with all of them just going their separate ways. Like, Batman goes back to Wayne Manor. Wonder Woman, I think, goes back to the Amazon village or whatever. She goes somewhere else. Aquaman gets in a car and starts drinking whiskey with a bunch of fishermen. Cyborg is back in his apartment. Like, isn't that the time where if you made a Justice League movie where they go like, hey, well, if Darkseid ever returns, we should have some sort of league. Perhaps a Justice League. I mean, obviously you're not going to write that stupid a scene, but you could if you wanted to. Here's where it gets even more weird, is after they've defeated the big bad guy, Batman has a nightmare. Which was the scene I was most excited for, because I love the nightmare stuff. It's so stupid. And it's stupid in a way that I love. Batman has a nightmare. He's wearing the cool duster. He's in the dust. He's hanging out with, again, Amber Heard, Aquaman's girlfriend or whatever, who is no longer in this franchise. Nobody's in this franchise anymore. Cyborg, who's no longer in this franchise. The Flash, who is still in this franchise. Deathstroke is there. Okay. Cool. There's a lot of extra endings, because you also have the other ending where, what do you call it? Real quick, Lex Luthor meets with Deathstroke. There's multiple endings to this movie. They beat the bad guy. You set up for Darkseid in the next movie. Then you meet Lex Luthor talking to Deathstroke, setting up whatever that villain team-up is. Then you get Batman's Nightmare, where, again, he hangs out with Jared Leto's Joker. I really wanted to like this. I really wanted Jared Leto to redeem himself. It was terrible. Jared Leto is a bad Joker. I'm sorry. I even think, like, he looks kind of neat now, and they, like, changed his makeup. I'm like, okay, he's just, the voice, something about it. He's, like, annoying, obnoxious. I think they did kind of hint at the fan theory that he's actually Robin. Like, Robin died, technically, and became Joker, which would make more sense than Joker having killed Robin. Although, I don't know, because then Batman... Again, this is a spoiler. Batman tells Joker, I'm going to kill you. And you're like, isn't the big Batman thing that he would never kill Joker? Because this Batman in the Nightmare universe is like, I'm going to murder you one of these days, but for now we'll team up. And Superman, again, is evil, and I guess that's setting us up for what was originally supposed to happen, which was the Injustice storyline. It's so complicated. Basically, there's a future where Superman is evil because Lois Lane died in childbirth, or no, she was pregnant and somebody kills her. There is a reference. Lois Lane is probably pregnant in these movies because there is a shot where she opens her drawer and there's a pregnancy test in there. So I'm pretty sure Lois Lane is preggers at this point in the Snyderverse. Anyway, Then after that, the movie has the stupidest ending. I don't know why this wasn't the whole nightmare thing should have been after the credits because it's so detached. Batman wakes up. He had a spooky dream. He goes outside, and the Martian Manhunter is there, who also showed up earlier in the movie pretending to be Superman's mom. I didn't really understand why he was going to Lois Lane to have like a conversation about how much they miss Superman. And like, okay, I guess they're having a little moment between women. Oh, that was the Martian Manhunter. Okay, well, that makes no sense whatsoever. Martian Manhunter shows up. This is the worst scene. We were laughing so hard at how bad this is. Where he tells Batman, I'm glad to see you guys all working together. I hope you guys keep working together. You know, okay, maybe you guys should. He's basically, I expect him to be like, you guys should start a Justice League. I'm like, come on, just say it. Instead, he goes... This is the last. I have to hold on real quick because I missed Batman's line. Okay, this is going to be so stupid, me trying to get it. I'm watching the scene right now. By the way, they call me the Martian Manhunter. Okay, and then Batman says, I guess I'll see you around. And that's the end of the movie. By the way, they call me the Martian Manhunter is the end of the Justice League movie. That's the line. Why not have like an inspiring line? Like I look forward, truth will prevail. I don't know, some stupid, like, you did good out there, and perhaps together we can whatever else. And Batman could be like, yes, together, blah, 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 togetherness. So he goes, by the way, they call me the Martian Manhunter. Zack Snyder's Justice League, the end. Terrible ending. So, overall, is this movie good? I'm going to say no. No, not a good movie. Watchable, yes. Better than... watchable, DC fans, hardcore DC fans, people who know all these characters and enjoy seeing them being depressed and dour are going to love it. Absolutely. If you're going to take your girlfriend... Let's put it this way. I'm being sexist for assuming your girlfriend is not a huge DC Comics fan. But your girlfriend will hate this movie. Your mom will hate this movie. Your dad will probably hate this movie. This movie seems laser focused in on the comic book fan. This is a movie for the comic book fan. This does not feel like it is built for general audiences. It is very hard to relate to these people. It's not fun. It's dark. It's depressing. It looks great. It looks great. Some of the soundtrack stuff is terrible. Every time Wonder Woman shows up, for some reason, Zack Snyder pipes in women going, like every single time. I'm like, stop, Zack, stop. I get it. I know it's Wonder Woman. Every time she shows up on screen, you don't have to women go, like this tribal chanting. It was insane. But ultimately, I don't know, man. I hate trying to put these movies on a scale out of 10 or whatever, especially because of those scales. It's anything below a 7 is considered terrible. So you know what? I'm not even going to do it. I'm just going to say I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't want to watch it again. I find it interesting. I'm very happy that I will even say a talented filmmaker, not a talented writer, because I think the script and the story is just hard to follow and the characters are not, just unrelatable and unlikable. And Chris Terrio bears some of the responsibility for that, the writer of Justice League and Rise of Skywalker. I think that guy, stop letting him write your movies. So ultimately, no, I don't like it. But I totally understand if you're a DC Comics fan. You just kind of want like a gritty superhero slugfest with lots of action, lots of gratuitous slow-mo, lots of CG special effects. There's a lot of cool stuff, a lot of cool fight scenes, all the stuff with the Amazons fighting him. Even the stuff in Atlantis, which looked so bad in the original cut, at least now it's like, okay, at least it looks kind of okay. Superman cutting that dude's horn off. He cuts Steppenwolf's. I think that fight looks pretty good. So, I don't know. There's stuff to like. Ultimately, this is a big, dumb mess. And aggressively, yeah, I don't know. I hate to call it dumb, but it is a dumb movie. It is, ooh, yeah, I don't know. Not an intellectual take on any of this. Just kind of like, let's watch all these miserable people wear costumes and beat each other up. Again, if you want to check out my commentary, my 4-hour audio commentary with the great Dick Masterson, check out patreon.com/The Show. We'll see if I can put these ramblings into a real video at some point. I've been going for 45 minutes, and I don't even care. because I got a lot to say, and I'm happy to say it. Do I gotta watch this movie again before I review it for real? Can I do that? What would a real... This is a real review. I just have the feeling that this movie's gonna have a lot to talk about, and people are gonna want to keep talking about it, so I think I might make another video about it. I don't know. We'll see. And I also think a lot of you guys are gonna be mad at me because I'm not saying this is the greatest comic book movie ever. I'm sorry. I really don't think that. But it is better. And it is a big middle finger to Joss Whedon, which I find hilarious. Thanks for watching. Peace and love. I need to sleep. I'm dying.